The Snow White remake was already hanging by a thread. Then South Park showed up and casually drop-kicked it off a cliff. And the best part? They did it with that classic, we don't care who gets offended energy. While Rachel Zegler was still doing damage control over the movie's endless controversies, South Park swooped in, roasted the entire film and her, and left Disney scrambling like someone accidentally hit reply all during a corporate meltdown. And trust me, this doesn't end with a few memes. South Park has already roasted Snow White and Rachel into oblivion, and now they're reportedly cooking up a brand new DEI special. So buckle up. This is a full-blown Hollywood disaster unfolding in real time, and South Park just decided to add insult to injury. Disney's identity crisis. To really understand this train wreck, we need to rewind. Disney has been having an identity crisis bigger than your cousin after their third gap year. Every move they make lately screams, "Please like us." They've been reshuffling characters, rewriting plots, and treating beloved classics like Pinterest DIY projects, the kind that look great online but fall apart in real life. Enter Snow White. From day one, the remake raised eyebrows, the casting of Rachel Zegler, the reimagined story, the removal of the romance that made the original iconic, the controversy over the dwarfs. Fans were furious. Then, South Park saw the chaos and said, "Hold my beer." South Park dropped their Joining the Panderverse special, and they did not hold back. They said exactly what the internet had been yelling for months, roasting Hollywood's obsession with diversity checkboxes instead of good storytelling. Cartman and the gang were turned into grown women of color as a parody of studios replacing established characters purely to tick corporate boxes. The message was loud and clear. Congrats, Disney, you're so busy pandering you forgot to tell a good story. Brutal. And Rachel Zegler, she was front and center in that roast. The Snow White problem. Let's be clear, most people support diversity in movies. That's not the issue. The problem is how Disney handled it. It felt less like genuine inclusion and more like a corporate checklist. The character's literal description is skin as white as snow, so when Disney cast Rachel Zegler, a Latina actress, they knew controversy was coming. But casting wasn't even the biggest issue. Disney gutted the heart of the story. No prince, no romance, the seven dwarfs were replaced with CGI characters, all in the name of being modern, sensitive, and inclusive. But fans asked the obvious question, if you remove everything that made Snow White, what's left? South Park smelled blood, and they didn't miss. Rachel's interviews made it worse. Rachel didn't help herself either. Instead of respecting the original, she trashed it in interviews, calling it outdated, weird, and implying the prince was basically a walking red flag. She even told people she didn't need their business if they didn't like the changes. Smooth move. She bragged that the new Snow White isn't about love at all, and that the prince's role barely matters. To fans, she sounded less like someone proud to revive a classic and more like someone embarrassed to be part of it. And that attitude handed South Park comedic gold on a silver platter. The dwarfs disaster. South Park also went after Disney's bizarre handling of the seven dwarfs. Gone were the charming, distinct characters people grew up with. Instead, Disney rolled out a random group of diverse friends that looked like extras from a failed Dungeons & Dragons campaign. The backlash got so bad that Disney backtracked, adding the dwarfs back using CGI, which only created even more controversy. South Park mocked the irony perfectly, trying so hard not to offend anyone and offending everyone. Disney panics. Disney executives know one thing: South Park's mockery sticks. People don't just laugh, they agree. Rumors say Disney even tried reaching out to South Park's parent company to tone things down. If true, that was a huge mistake. South Park thrives on that pressure. Just ask Scientology. And now, things might get even worse. What's coming next? Reports say South Park is preparing another DEI-focused special, possibly arriving as soon as August. This time, they're expected to use Snow White's box office flop as fresh fuel. And let's be honest, everyone knows how badly the movie performed. When that episode drops, it's gonna be brutal. Rachel's reaction. So, how is Rachel handling all this? Not well.
Insiders claim she's furious behind the scenes. She expected praise for bringing a bold, modern twist to Snow White, not headlines accusing her of ruining a classic and pushing an agenda. Instead of red carpets, she's getting memed and roasted by the savage cartoon on television. South Park didn't just pour salt in the wound, they dumped the entire shaker. Final thoughts. Between Disney's PR blunders, Rachel's inflammatory interviews, and South Park's ruthless satire, everything collided into one spectacular meltdown. Hollywood is panicking, fans are grabbing popcorn. So the question is, will Disney learn anything from this disaster, or will they keep modernizing classics until there's nothing left to modernize? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and remember, if South